Hi, I'm Greg Yulin with Reynolds & Reynolds, and this is Connected. We are at the NADA show in lovely New Orleans. Right now, I'm excited to get to sit down with Kyle Mountsier of ASOTU. Kyle, thanks so much for taking a couple minutes because I know you're just busy bell to bell every day.
We're running. It's a lot of fun. The show, I'm telling you that I was just saying it, the buzz and the energy today is definitely palpable out here.
Yeah. Well, it's Saturday, right? So this is a different show because a lot of people ended up getting in yesterday just with flights and you couldn't get here. I mean, you guys drove from Nashville, right?
We did. We had a lot of fun. We did a little road trip vlogs and that was fun. Like our whole production crew lives in Nashville. Yeah. And so Paul came down, flew down, we caravan down. And I think the really cool thing about this show is everybody's going to have a story from it. Yep. It'll be very memorable.
Probably lots of stories. There's always stories that come out of New Orleans anyway.
Always.
So when you have stories coming into New Orleans, right, you know it's going to be a good storytelling show.
Exactly.
But no, I think you're right. Like the energy is here today. The hard part, I think, is keeping people in one place for more than 5 minutes because there's so many things that everybody wants to go see.
Yep.
Which is great. You love having that kind of in and out.
I know, and I've talked to a couple of dealers that have really said, and I think a lot of times the dealer-vendor relationship gets a little bit of a bad rap, but the dealers that I've talked to said, hey, we're going to intentionally make sure we make it around today to talk to vendors, knowing that vendors and industry partners were kind of concerned about what's the turnout. Am I going to see people? So I think you'll see people moving like you just said.
Yeah, no, it's been fun already. One of the things I wanted to talk with you about, I think we've had a lot of conversations, around technology, around, websites, around speed, about a lot of things that you're doing, even outside of ASOTU. But I wanted to talk about right now, AutoIndustry.ai. So this is a website, a newsletter that you guys launched, fairly new.
Yeah.
So what was the genesis of that? Why'd you go that route? It was probably because you didn't have anything to do.
Yeah, we were super bored one week. We were like, what do we do? Paul and I actually spent time in 2 dealers in 1 week. And we were just having conversations about marketing, operations, just different conversations around the store. And every single time we would get into a conversation, we would be like, oh, well, we would just ask GPT a question like this, and then we would ask a question like this. And the dealers would come around and go, wait, it can do that?
Right.
And we're just using logged in accounts and that block out information just with the right queries at the right time. And we're showing them Perplexity and Gemini and all these opportunities that are publicly available things that anybody can use. You don't have to buy it at a trade show. And we realized that so many people just aren't utilizing this stuff on a day-to-day basis. For us, it's like lifeblood. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without it, without leveraging some of these tools. And I know so many of the industry partners are the same way. If the tool wasn't there, we wouldn't be able to accomplish what we are today. And so it was just oh, wow. There's just an education matrix that we have to get more people comfortable with simple queries, or this is the new technology that's available, or this is why AI isn't scary. And so what do? We put it in a newsletter, put it in articles, and make it just easy to access this great information.
Yeah. Can you give a couple of just tangible examples of how dealers are or can use some of these AI tools? Just some quick takeaways, maybe to get over that initial, where do we even start?
Yeah, I think for me, AI has 3 primary purposes, right? Especially when it comes to the conversation AI, like a GPT or a Perplexity or something like that. And the 3 primary purposes are advent of idea, right? So how do I just come up with an idea that's novel, that maybe I wouldn't have done? So it's that initiator. The second one is the curator, right? How do I kind of formulate this idea into something that actually makes sense after I've kind of had the initial idea? So there's a curator aspect. And then there's an expander aspect. I've got this raw basic thing. How do I get way more out of it? How do I put an expansive nature into it? So a lot of people have started using AI and just the simple give me this and wanting a one-line response back, but it's really this thing that you can tug and pull and kind of use as that, thing that can ideate with you. So those are the three places where I'm seeing dealers. And so in marketing, right?
Yeah.
How do I go from, I want this type of campaign, what questions should I be asking myself?
Yeah.
And then it gives you things to answer. And then if you answer those questions back to it, it will circle back with more detail, right? That's just a simple way to think about the types of paths that it can give you.
Yeah, so I like that idea of asking questions and bouncing back and forth because I think of it as a really fun intellectual sparring partner.
Yes.
Right. Where you can sit down.
Absolutely true.
We don't always have that person sitting next to us, right? Or not available on the phone or whatever. But for me, at least, I love talking through things, right? You bring something up, somebody gives you a reason why that won't work, and then you go back and forth, and eventually you land on something that's really, really good.
Yep.
But ChatGPT it's an easy one. You can log in and use it, and it'll go back and forth with you and give you, it helps you get to a place where you just came up with something great. It wasn't even, you don't even ask it, hey, give me a great idea, right? It's like, hey, here's what I'm thinking. Tell me, 4 arguments why this won't work. And then it'll give those things. And it's like, okay, well, what about this? And you can just iterate almost with yourself.
Yes, absolutely. Well, and then the things that I think a lot of people aren't even paying attention to is the fact that some things like Midjourney or Runway, and the combination of Midjourney and Runway, Midjourney being an image generation tool and Runway being an image to video generation tool, can really start to have a symbiotic relationship and really, really quickly pump out content that's good enough to get moving.
Yeah, especially if it's short form, like social media content, where it doesn't have to have super high production value.
Yep.
Getting something good enough is a good way to look at it, where you want quality, but it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, good. Anything that you're seeing, I know you got to run, you got a million things going on. Real quick, anything that you're seeing at the show from a technology perspective that's really impressed you in the AI world? Yeah, well, I think the AI world is really enabling us to move from a reactivity state to a proactivity state. So if you go back, 7, 8, 10 years ago, there were a lot of equity mining tools that came into the ecosystem. And it was like, okay, that's the first layer of proactivity that we had as an industry. And we're moving now to where proactivity is real time, right? Yep. We were just talking actually with your team at Goo and Curator, what they've done with FullPath. And I think that I'm seeing that a lot, where AI is taking the data insights that are already there. Like, we as an industry have so much data, and it's exposing the ability to react to it and enable it in real time, right? With a salesperson on the floor, all of those places. Love it. All right, well, Kyle, I know you got to run. I really appreciate you sitting down for a couple minutes. It's always a pleasure. We'll have to catch up again soon so we can have a little bit of a longer conversation. But cool. Have a great show, and we'll see you soon. You too. Thanks, Greg. Thanks. Well, I have to be honest, it was a little odd talking to Kyle and Paul separately at NADA, but I really appreciate both of them giving me time. Kyle, great conversation as always. I really appreciate it. And for those of you out there, make sure to check out More Than Cars, the documentary that ASOTU has put together. Season 1 is out now. Season 2 is coming soon. It's really a must-see for the auto industry. Also, be sure to grab your tickets to ASOTUCon coming in May. I'm excited about it. It's always a great show, and I hope to see you there. Before we hop off, don't forget you can watch or listen to all episodes of Connected on YouTube, Apple, and Spotify podcasts, and make sure to hit subscribe so you're notified every week during February when new episodes are released. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.